So you're saving up allowance money at this period of time. How old are you?
Man, I was like 14.
Gotcha. So you're like just entering high school. So what's that
Yeah,
like then? You're working with legends at that period of time. You actually have now you have recorded material. You go back to school. What's that perception like back in the playground?
yo, it was like, I mean, at the time, I could not appreciate. I didn't know the magnitude of the greatness of Paul C. I didn't know the
Sure.
magnitude of the studio that I was in. So I was just enjoying it, man. I mean, Paul C had that other element, whereas he was great, but he was also just cool to hang out with.
Yeah.
So, we recorded. I also was working with, you ever heard this group that used to work with Paul C called Black by Demand?
No, I've never heard.
Yeah, it was this group called Black by Demand that was also working in 1212 Studio. I mean, you had a lot of artists that was going in, like Father MC and a bunch of artists like that. But, I was just so young and I just wanted to record. I was just focused on my stuff, on my material, and just getting that experience. I put out this record called, I put together a record called I Put a Hurt In. And it was like the first record I ever recorded. It's called I Put a Hurt In and Clean and Sober. And I see some guys got it online now on YouTube. But yeah, and it's credited to Paul C. It was me and Paul C, says Out Loud, and me and Paul C.
Yeah. You had an
And
older sister that was rapping too, right?
right, yeah, I had an older sister named Priscilla. And an older sister and actually an older brother. And they was like really the B-boy because they was really at the they was really in the 80s and they was really living the 80s up. So, they was part of the whole mid 80s hip hop, bringing home big artists, besides like, Sugar Hill Gang, that's Melly Mel. So, I was just a kid, like just listening to those records, man, all those hot records, man. Even, the KRS ones. And I just absorbed a lot of those records, man. The Big Daddy and, all that underground 80s movement, man.
How important were your
That-
siblings then in order to, I guess, build those foundations for you early on, set you up with maybe connect you with individuals or just kind of put those foundations in place for you?
yeah, and it's so crazy because, like, you said, what was the question?
Your older siblings, so you mentioned your brother was kind of part of that as well, but definitely Priscilla, how important were they in terms of building some of those early kind of foundations for you as a hip hop artist?
They was very, very important. Very important. You know, like, my brother, because I kind of they was like super cool. More than it was like an artist, they were like cool. Like everyone would be over my house hanging with them. You know, they was very into the fashion at the time, very much into the fashion.
Sure.
So I got a chance to really see what the real gold chains were, of the 80s, the big, thick rope chains that was, it was gold for real. And the belt buckles and, all that. Even as a kid, as a baby, young, I had like a baby that was like a real urban hip hop coat back in the day. I had the
Yeah.
sheepskin coat and hat. And I just caught that whole experience of what was going on in Brooklyn in the 80s.
Were you ever like, did you ever jump on any of Priscilla's cuts tracks? Or was she not really a
No,
recording artist at that period of time?
She was just more grabbing a mic and just rapping.
Gotcha.
Like my brother, they was more just grabbing a pork mic and rapping. And you just had so much energy. That's why I always say and I always question, where did hip hop start? Because you had so many Brooklyn artists at that time that was just, they wasn't making records. They had no pathway into the industry. So
Yeah.
they were just talks, rapping making demos and stuff like that in their house. And it goes way back. I've heard stories way back into the 70s of guys from Brooklyn making hip hop records. But the thing was, they had, like in Brooklyn, the lifestyle. So they went into like a lifestyle of crime and got locked up and went to jail. So we could never really hear, when did y'all start hip hop?
Blunts in a sack, 3 bundles of crack, we better move. We starting to wild up, fuck these bird motherfuckers, make the flock of them fly. So I got a lot of clout, got a lot of props from how I walk, what I talk about. It's my check, come on. It's 2-step, come on. It don't matter what's said and who you rap, come on. So with my mind on my money, yeah, my money on my mind. I get mine, I get mine, I get mine, I get mine.